All right, what up? It's Leonidas here, coming in from Kata Beach, Phuket, Thailand. Okay, all around me you can see the beach. All right, and there's a little bit of wind, so it might distort the audio quality, but that's okay. Hopefully you can still hear. The topic I'd like to talk about today is a topic I picked up from the book *Sapiens*, and it's one of the best books I've ever read. Hands down, the top 3. If you have a chance to read it, I highly recommend you to read it. It is not a novel. It is pretty much a biography of culture within humans. Okay, and now the topic I'd like to talk about specifically is attaining happiness from within. So we'll cover what this *Sapiens* book was about, specifically the topic of romanticism versus consumerism. We'll transition into attaining happiness from within, and then obviously a spiel about meditation, which is something I do fairly regularly because it's awesome for you. So the first topic of interest, *Sapiens*. *Sapiens* is one of the best books of all time because it goes through the cultural transitions of humanity from when we were in tribes into the transition into agricultural societies where we started to build civilizations, all right, into religions, and then ultimately ideologies that we created in the last 200 years, such as communism, capitalism, fascism, and all these other things. Now, the reason that this book is so amazing is not because it covers the evolution of humans themselves, but the actual cultural evolution that took place. So every single concept that we know, such as money, such as capitalism, such as meditation, such as religion, all these things are just manifestations of human existence. They only exist within the parallels of humanity, or within the realms of humanity. If you step outside of the earth, there is no such thing as money, there's no such thing as capitalism, there's no such thing as feminism, there's no such thing as even human rights. Okay, human rights is just something we invented, perhaps in the last, I guess since the French Revolution, perhaps, since that was the most historical moment of all. And prior to that, we had slavery and all this other fun stuff. To focus on the main points, what I want to talk about is the concept of romanticism and consumerism. Okay, and this really hit me deeply when I read this element in the book, because romanticism is the concept of focusing on building experiences, getting new experiences under your belt, because that's what the new trend, the new cool thing to do is. So buying movie tickets, buying concert tickets, buying a ticket to a new country, a new city, basically traveling, experiencing new foods, experiencing new wines. This is all called romanticism, okay? And prior to perhaps tourism within the Roman Empire, this didn't really exist. People were just enslaved to what they were doing. It was really dangerous to step outside of your current environment. And this is just not something that we did. So to be happy is to engage in the element of attaining new experiences, okay? Meeting new people, perhaps, going with gurus or like I said, concerts or movies or traveling. Happiness is attained through experiences from the standpoint of romanticism. Now, the other side of it is capitalism. Consumerism. Consumerism ties in with attaining happiness by buying things. Okay, so for example, buying a new phone will make you happy. Buying a car will make you happy. Buying new clothes or new shoes will impress the people around you, and this ultimately will make you happy. Nowadays, there's obviously a trend that indicates that buying things isn't necessarily the most happiness productive element, because ultimately you get adjusted to it and it no longer makes you happy. Well, guess what? This also ties very heavily into romanticism, into the element of attaining new experiences, because there is a whole industry revolved around attaining new experiences, and this is called the travel industry. Okay, this is called the ticket industry. They sell you the experience, and that ultimately attempts at making you happy. Okay, so buy this ticket now to experience Paris, or buy this ticket now to experience Rome, because ultimately it will make you happy. So this ties in very heavily into ultimately selling you the experience. Now, in order to make you happy, But the main point, after all of this romanticism and consumerism, the author covers very deeply on why happiness is actually attained from within. Okay? There is nothing outside of yourself, or very minimalistically outside of yourself, I guess outside of maybe, even outside, if you disclude the grander picture of raising children or family and all that stuff. But hold on, we're going to overheat in a second, as usual. Okay, unimportant. So happiness is basically attained from within. If you can step out of the headspace that perhaps traveling to a new destination or experiencing new food or basically going on a new concert is going to make you happy, then you understand that the happiness obviously comes from within. Ultimately, also with consumerism. Okay, with consumerism, you know that buying a new phone will only make you momentarily happy. Buying a new car will only make you momentarily happy. Buying a new house will only make you momentarily happy. The happiness ultimately comes from within. Next up, we have, so if the happiness comes from within, how do we attain it? Well, one of the things that I've been promoting or practicing and all that fun stuff is meditation. Meditation can be perceived in many different ways. I personally don't follow with all the hokey pokey, the mystical reincarnations and all this dharma and all this other fun stuff. But meditation in itself is basically sitting down with yourself, with your own ego, with your own personality, and overcoming the addictions, overcoming the emotional swings, overcoming anything that influences you from within yourself. Okay, let's say you get stuck in a traffic jam and somebody perhaps cuts in front of you. Well, instead of reacting to it, instead of reacting to your emotions, you kind of center within yourself because there's really nothing you can do. Okay, and then you just kind of find solace within yourself. You take a deep breath, and then you kind of center yourself with your present emotions as opposed to reacting to something that you shouldn't. When you understand that also the experiences you attain, they're very momentary. You'll get this spike of joy, this spike of awesomeness, and then it goes away. Like I said before, when you buy something, you get the spike of amazingness. You buy a pair of new shoes, new clothes, new car, whatever, and then it goes away. So the happiness is ultimately from within yourself. The emotional swings you bring, you swing less in the emotional swings, and you center within yourself. There's one really cool app. Scientifically speaking, also, it changes your brain. Okay, so there are scientific studies that do show that it takes away from your reptilian brain, so your emotionally charged brain, the one that reacts to emotions, and builds like a coating around it, and instead builds a closer, a stronger, I guess, prefrontal cortex, so the more the thinking element. So instead of reacting to something, you think it more thoroughly. Lately, I've been using a really cool app called Headspace, and as I've described in a previous video, Headspace is almost a gamification of meditation. So it shows you how many times you've meditated, how many times your friends have meditated, how long you've meditated, how many hours, how many sessions, and all this stuff. It actually allows you to keep track. I personally like to keep track. I'm very much goal-oriented, very much achievement-oriented, and allowing yourself to keep track of your meditation progress is actually quite beneficial because ultimately it's not really about the end goal, but it is about the process. So you want to see how you're progressing with your meditation, and you do feel it. You do feel it. You're less emotionally reactive. Okay, you're more centered to yourself, to just a very content state of mind. You're more centered during like chaotic environments. Okay, and that is, so let's cover that again. We had Sapiens, one of the best books of all time. So it just talks about the cultural evolution of ourselves. Transitions into romanticism and consumerism, why these things will not necessarily make you happy. Okay, transitioning into why happiness actually only comes from within, and a really cool app called Headspace, which allows you to basically track your progress in meditation and how meditation itself is scientifically relevant. It does help you, and it's not just, hokey pokey, woo woo, mystical, Buddhist, all this fun stuff. If you take all that stuff out, it's very objective, very specific process that allows you to concentrate and allows you to focus and allows you not to react emotionally. So once again, Leonidas here, coming in from Phuket, Thailand. I hope that video was awesome. Okay, it's really interesting to riff on these topics, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. So your action steps for today: go and, if you need to, go download the app Headspace and start meditating. Start becoming less reactive to your environment. Start becoming more present to the moment. Start becoming centered within yourself, because happiness, once again, only comes from within yourself. Leonidas 2015 going into 2016. It's almost New Year's. We're about 3 or 4 days away. So I will see you after New Year's probably. Salut.